Hello participants, welcome in this new session of organizational behavior, and today we will take up a new topic, and today's topic is very important and significant with respect to the management of organizational behavior among organizations. The topic is work motivation, and in this topic we will first try to understand the work motivation, and then we will discuss the various theories of motivation. Talking about work motivation, again this term is consist of two words, work and motivation. So, if we try to understand the meaning of work, so according to the dictionary of sociology or encyclopedia of sociology, the definition of work given is, it is a kind of human activity which is productive and which produces something valuable, such as goods or in the form of services, and that creation in the form of goods or services should be giving some kind of reward or remuneration. So, understanding the meaning, this meaning includes the very first thing is work is a human activity. Specifically, we are talking about the business work or organizational work, in that the work accomplished by the human beings, and that work should be productive and it should produce either a product or a service. It should provide a service, and these products and services should be valuable, rewarding, and it should bring a kind of remuneration. Only then it is work. Now, we can take example of any organizational work. If an employee is working on the line of production of automobile and fitting the carburetor, then this work will help the organization to ultimately manufacture the automobile, and that automobile will then bring the revenue or profit to the organization. So, the basic elements that the human activity which is productive and creating a kind of product or service, and then that product or service should bring a remuneration or reward to the organization, is accomplished. So, there are various kind of similar works in the organization. Now, if we talk about definition of the work, then work is a purposeful human activity involving physical and mental exertion that is undertaken solely for pleasure and has economic value. So, again this definition has emphasized that it may be the physical or mental activity, physical or mental, and very well we can understand, if a person is involved in the process of innovation, if a person is involved in the process of creativity, that is a kind of mental work, whereas a person who is involved in fitting the carburetor and the automobile is also a work. So, both physical and mental work, and these activities are taken for either attaining the pleasure or the economic value. In business, the work is bringing the economic value, whereas in case of personal life, acts, works, if someone is involved in the household work, yes, of course, it is also bringing a kind of service or product, but it brings pleasure also. If someone is serving his or her parents, that is a kind of service, and that service will bring no economic value, or that service will not bring any kind of reward, but of course, it will bring pleasure to the individual. So, this is definition of work, and if we talk about what various kind of functions can be attained by working, and these functions are, the very first one is economic function. Among organizations, employees work to accomplish the economic function. Economic function means the process of profit maximization and wealth maximization, and for that purpose, and how it is attained? It is attained by working with the organization to attain its major objectives and goals. The second objective or second function of work is social relation function. As I told you that if someone is giving services to the parent or caring the parents, that is a kind of social relation function. Among families, communities and society, people work for each other, and by this way they attain the social relation function process. And next one is personal fulfillment function. Personal fulfillment function means if someone is going to gym and in the gym the individual is doing lot of exercises, these exercises are also a kind of work, but that work is for personal fulfillment. Or another example is if a family or an individual is going to watch a movie, then going from home to the theater and then watching, all that is a kind of work, and that work will bring fulfillment, pleasure, happiness to individual. So, one of the major function of work is to bring personal fulfillment to the people. And last one is identity function. Identity function means there are certain acts, there are certain work or tasks with which individuals are recognized, and that recognition is a process of identification for the individual. So, people work for identification also. These are some of the functions of work. Now, moving to the next word, that is motivation. This is really a very significant element of organizational working. Motivation is process of generating the need and then pushing the person towards satisfying that need and ultimately relaxing. Simply, if we try to understand the motivation, once a person is satisfied for everything, that person will be in the state of equilibrium. But as and when there is any kind of disturbance, there is unbalance in the equilibrium, then the individual will feel a need, will feel a desire, and that need and desire will push the organism or human being to attain or to fulfill that need. And once the need is fulfilled, individual will again reach to the state of equilibrium. So, motivation is process of generating the need, pushing the organism towards fulfillment of that need and attaining the need. That is process of motivation. Now, let us talk why we are talking about motivation in organizational working. This is really very important. If someone has just joined an organization, on the joining, person will be enthusiastic, full of energy, interested to work, but gradually as a result of prolonged working with the organization, the state of boredom, the state of monotony start appearing and emerging, and that will gradually force the person to lose interest in the work. But the ultimate aim of organization is to attain its objectives and goals, and for that there is need of the organization that its people should be working at a particular level of functioning. But because of any kind of boredom, monotony, routine, if person is not taking interest or person is taking lesser interest, that will hamper the functioning of organization. And to check that there is need from the organization side to keep its employees motivated always, and motivated means they must be performing at the highest level of their productivity. If the level of productivity has gone down, if the level of effectiveness has gone down, that will affect the process of attainment of organizational goal, and it is not possible for organization to face such a situation. So, there is need to keep the employees working with organization in a motivated state. So, now by clubbing both the words, we have understood what is work and we have understood what is motivation, and we have also understood that why there is need for the work motivation. So, work motivation is basically it is something that moves the person to action and continues him in the course of action already initiated. This definition is given by Robert Dubbin. Another definition given by B.F. Skinner is motivation in organization is process of learning which involves arousing, persisting, sustaining and directing desirable behavior. Another definition given by Woodworth, motivation is state of the individual which disposes him to certain behavior for seeking goal. And the last definition, which is very good definition in respect of that work motivation may be defined as a broad construct pertaining to the conditions and processes that account for arousal, direction, magnitude and maintenance. So, if we go through all these 4 definitions of work motivation, in that the motivation is pushing the organism or arousing the organism, and in the definition of B.F. Skinner of motivation, the specific characteristics included are arousing, persisting. Arousing means creating the desire where the organism will start feeling the need, otherwise organism will remain in the state of equilibrium. And once that arousal is there, that arousal should be persisting, it should sustain, it should go for a long, it should go for that time period during which the work can be accomplished, and yes, of course, it should have a desirable direction. We can understand it with a very simple example. If a person was sleeping and then suddenly the sleep has broken, and as a result of internal stimulus, person is feeling hungry, and this hunger is a kind of need, this is a kind of desire which will motivate, which will instigate, which will persuade the individual to find the food, and this desire of finding the food will move the individual towards attainment of that goal, and then person will get up and try to find out the food, and once food is found out, the person will consume the food, and again person will be in the state of equilibrium or person will be satisfied. So, simply understanding the work motivation is process of dissatisfaction, satisfaction and state of equilibrium. One more definition which is very important is there given by Pinder in 1998, and according to which a set of energetic forces that originate both within as well as beyond. So, motivation is as a result of a specific kind of force which is emerging from within as well as from the environment. Within means when it is from the internal urge, as I gave example of hunger, but from outside, if by any reason the temperature of this room will start going down, then person will start feeling cold, and this is something external. To protect the organism or individual will get motivated to move from there to find some warm cloth. So, work motivation is a set of energetic forces, the forces which will energize the individual, that originate both from within as well as beyond the individual to initiate work related behavior, to force the individual to start working and to determine its form, direction, intensity and duration. Its form, direction, intensity and duration. What kind, what form, what work, and by attaining which direction, how it should be done, and then what should be the intensity. Let us take example of attainment of lifelong goals. One of the major lifelong goal is finding a suitable placement or finding a suitable job, and for that the child and his or her parents starts motivating from the very beginning of childhood, and gradually after acquisition of qualification, now after say 20 years or 25 years, individual get the job. So, this is the duration of sustainability of motivation. So, it is not only what kind of work, it is not only in which direction organism or individual have to move, it is intensity, how serious, how deep it is, and yes, of course, its duration also. In case of finding the food, it will take hardly half an hour, and once food is found, individual will the hunger will be quenched and person will feel satisfied. But there are certain work in the life, and those works may be from the personal life or from the work life. If a person is earning the livelihood, for earning the livelihood, the individual should remain motivated for the lifelong duration, because there are certain basic things which are required on daily basis, and to manage them there is need to work regularly daily basis. So, the duration is also one of the significant factor. So, after understanding all these definitions and meaning, now the concept of work motivation is clear, and to clarify it more, let us see that each of these definition or meaning is emphasizing on two basic things. The first one is motivation is identified as energizing force. Why we must understand this? Among organizations, if the process of motivation is not creating or generating any kind of energy, then that motivation would not be the sustained motivation. As I told you that there are various kind of works, the works which are very smaller in duration and nature, and the works which needs long duration for accomplishment, and I gave you example. So, there is need of energy, sustained energy to attain that. And the second basic characteristic among all these meanings and characteristics is this force has implication for the form, direction, intensity and duration of behavior. Once that energy is created, that energy should take a shape of form of work, and work again it is physical work or mental work, and then that form should have a direction, in which direction organism or individual should work, so that it can be attained, and yes, the intensity with which individual has to work and its duration also. So, these are two basic elements in that, and with this we can understand the work motivation. Now, let us try to understand the nature of work motivation or the detailed characteristic of work motivation. Motivation is an individual psychological phenomena. Yes, the motivation will start with the mental and psychological processes, which allows a person's uniqueness to be demonstrated at workplace. Among our some of previous sessions, I have emphasized number of times that each and every individual is different and unique. So, being different in mental processes, in psychological processes, and behavioral processes, and physical processes, among all these things, even in the biological processes, each and every individual is different, and because of that difference and uniqueness, the demonstration of motivation by each and every individual will also be different. And why we should understand that? If everyone is different in the respect of motivation, it means the organization and managers should take care of that, and each and every individual should be motivated according to the individual's difference and uniqueness. The second characteristic is motivation is assumed to be under person's control. Yes, it is under person's control, and behaviors that are influenced work motivation by motivation such as effort expended are seen as purposive rather than random. Number of times it has been discussed that there should be a direction to the motivation. It should not be random, it should not be abrupt. So, while working in the organization, if you want to motivate the employees, then that motivation should have a certain kind of purpose, objective, and it should not be abrupt and random in nature. The next characteristic related to the work motivation is the direction of person's behavior towards organizational goal is determined by work motivation, or in other words, whatever efforts have been made by the managers or organization to motivate people, then its direction must be in the direction of attainment of organizational goal. If the direction of organizational motivation is not synchronized, then it would be difficult for organization to attain its goals. So, the things have become a bit complex, typical. Each and every individual is different and unique. Each and every individual is having different desires, aspirations, and all these forces are forcing the individual. Now, the organization want to take work, and organization want to push the individual in the direction of attainment of organizational goal. So, all these things should be synchronized, otherwise the organization will become a hodgepodge. Next characteristic is work motivation describes concerted effort often in the face of obstacles until the goal is accomplished. Yes, among the situation of problem and challenges also, there is need to motivate people. So, the effort of people should be concerted and resoluted in a specific direction. If we see an organization from the top, then there are different departments working in the organization, and each department is consist of very small teams which are working on different assignments and projects of the organization. And if we see them from the top, it seems that each and every team is pushing and pulling the organization in different directions, but the ultimate vector analysis, the ultimate resolution of all these forces should be in the direction of attainment of organizational goal. So, each and every individuals, each and every teams, each and every department's effort should be concerted and resoluted, and this can be done with the help of motivation. So, we can understand it in other ways around, that organization must monitor and observe that how the process of motivation is pulling and pushing the people in organization and the teams in the organization. Otherwise, again it will take a different direction. And next characteristic, which is again very important, work motivation leads individual to invest greater cognitive effort, greater mental energy. As I told you, if someone is working on a job for a long period, gradually because of boredom and monotony, person will start losing the mental energy, and as a result of that, the person will become disinterested in the job, but organization has to attain its goals. So, for the attainment of these goals, it is necessary that the cognitive effort and mental energy of individual should be at a higher level. So, the motivation is one of the factor which will generate the new energy, and that energy will bring the cognitive effort. Next characteristic is this work motivation is distinct from performance. Motivation is not same as the performance, it is different. Performance is working, accomplishing, doing something. Motivation is the interest, the energy generated for doing the work. So, these are two. If the interest, energy and effort, specifically the cognitive effort, is generated at a higher level, then the work will be performed in a better way. So, yes, of course, they are related to each other, but otherwise they are two different things. And another characteristic of work motivation is it is multifaceted. It is multifaceted. Multifaceted means the work motivation does not involve a single factor only. It involves number of factors and it is multiple in nature. So, this is another characteristic. Now, let us try to understand the process of motivation. As in the beginning of this session, I told you that process of motivation involves the very first thing, desire and need. And desire is need means if organism or individual or employee is in state of equilibrium, in state of satisfaction, then it is very difficult to take work from individual. On daily basis, there should be something so that individual can feel, individual can have interest in working, and this is possible when the person will feel need or desire, only then. So, the very first element in the process of motivation is generating the need and desire. Once the need and desire is generated, that need and desire will generate the energy, both the physical energy as well as cognitive energy or mental energy, and this mental and physical energy will push the organism in the direction or will drive, will force to satisfy the need, to attain the goal which is set by the need of individual. And yes, of course, in the process of motivation there should be something incentive. Incentive means there should be outcome of the effort. Effort means the individual should utilize that energy which is generated in the form of mental or physical work, and that will be the outcome or incentive. So, with this it is completion of motivation or work motivation. This is one of very significant topic for the organizational working, and here we are concluding this session. In the next session, we will talk about certain other concepts and phenomena of work motivation. For this session, it is all, and thanks for patient listening, and I think you might have enjoyed the learning. Good morning participants, I am Professor Rishipal. I welcome all of you in special session, special because in this session again you will be evaluated, but before evaluation let me share with you that your evaluation is based upon what you could learn from my video lectures and the slides provided to you. I have also provided you a list of various learning resources, and also I have shared with you the e-books. I hope that you might have prepared well for your evaluation, and for evaluation I am sharing with you the MCQ test set and also an assignment. So, you will respond to the MCQs and submit it back for the evaluation, as well as you will prepare your assignment given to you and you will submit it back, and after receiving both your MCQ test and the assignment will be evaluated and the awards will become part of your final assessment. So, I hope you will do your best, and my best wishes for attempting both the test as MCQ and assignments. Thank you very much.